Our next presenter is a professional business coach that works with both franchised and non-franchised business owners. Stephen Krich, tell us all about your business here. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a system that I use that I think is really powerful for franchisors. I've been using it for several years now, and it's based on some principles from a guy named John Rockefeller. You may have heard of him. He ran a little company 100 years or so ago, pretty successful. So my question to you is, did any of these things fit for you, right? Are you trying to leverage the franchising model for business growth and scalability? You want to have a strong brand presence in a competitive market? Some of you say, I don't have any competitors, but there's competition for money, right? Where people are spending their time, where people are spending their dollars. Maintaining the health of the core locations while expanding through franchises. I think that's probably a goal for many of you. And to help the new franchisees grow their operations successfully. And we talked about it earlier, and several of the speakers have talked about the importance of having expert guidance. So the Catapult Razor program that I'm going to talk to you about can help you get there. So why should you listen to me? So a little bit weird, right? I have a PhD in physics. And you wonder, why the heck would somebody who's a PhD in physics do this kind of stuff? Well, I do it because it's fun. And the other thing is that I love results. I love doing experiments and seeing my hypothesis come out in the end. And the numbers, I'm a numbers guy. I've been a math geek as long as I can remember. So numbers are really important. And I call myself a coach-sultant because sometimes I'm coaching and sometimes I'm consulting, and I don't want to, I have a great deal of expertise in profit growth, how do you grow the top and the bottom line for a business. I've been a certified facilitator of the Covey 7 Habits of Highly Effective People for over 25 years. I know the productivity space. We heard earlier today about the 100 hours. I was one of the people that said, I know about 168 hours in a week, right? That's a number. Anyway, I also work with businesses to scale them. I am not an EOS implementer. For those of you who know what EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, is, I'm not an EOS implementer because I didn't pay the franchise fee to Gino Wickman, but I've read the book and I've installed the system at over 30 companies. And I also do AI training. I just recently hired my daughter, who has 6 patents pending in AI, to be my trainer, right? So some expertise there as well. Catapult will save you time. CEOs, and I'm talking about for running your business today, whether or not you franchise it. But if you want to franchise it, and somebody said earlier, right, we're already completely packed with stuff to do. Where are you going to find the time to do the extra stuff? So you need some kind of a system to help you be more efficient and effective and focus on the things that matter in terms of keeping your business healthy, but at the same time, finding time to do stuff to grow the franchise, to add franchises and teach them and all the things that you need to do to get set up, right? It provides focus on the critical metrics. Remember, I told you I like numbers. Andy Grove, who was the chairman of the board at Intel when I joined, said, what gets measured gets managed, right? Critical that you understand what KPIs, what metrics, what key performance indicators you track, and what needs to be tracked by the franchisees. The Catapult system will help you because we install it at every location for every franchisee. all the locations know how to grow faster. They know what to focus on, what will matter, and it saves them time. It gives you as the parent company, as the franchisor, visibility to every location, how they're doing on their metrics on a weekly basis. You can look at it individually, and you can look at it in aggregate over geographies. I asked one of your colleagues when I was at this equivalent event back in Dallas back in March. I said, well, how do you manage your franchisees? He says, I go visit them every quarter. How many do you have? 3. Okay, that's great. It works really well when you have 3. What happens when you have 30? How are you going to be able to go visit every quarter? Well, if you want to spend your whole life on a plane, sure. It aids in differentiation. If you have a system that's replicable and accelerates growth for every one of your locations, right? You can leverage that in terms of how you market your brand, how you differentiate, my restaurant from every other restaurant in franchising. And it's fully scalable, no matter how many locations you have. It's based on the Rockefeller habits, as I said, codifying the mission, the vision, the values that you have, focusing on a 3-year outcome. And the first question that I ask every CEO that I work with is, where do you want to be in 3 years? Not where do you want your business to be, but where do you want to be? And then build the business around what you want your life. How do we create a business that supports the life that you want to have, right? Forward-looking KPIs. You don't want to drive your vehicle down the road by looking in the rearview mirror, right? Think about that. If you run your business based on the P&L, that's what happened last quarter. It's important to know what those results are, but it's forward-looking KPIs. And how do you develop those? And one of the things that the Catapult is really good at is helping you figure out what those KPIs are. Who's accountable for what? Many small business owners. The challenge is they're responsible for absolutely everything. And that's not scalable. So how do you figure out who's responsible for what and grow your team so that you have people that can handle stuff? And then it's really important what Rockefeller said. The most important thing for scaling a business is a rhythm. You need to meet with your team on a regular basis. And we have not only a recommendation that you do that every week, but what the agenda is for that meeting. It's really efficient. I had one client who met with his team every day for 45 minutes, right? He was a bit of a control freak, I'll say that. But once he installed this system, he was able to take that same amount of consistent feedback and do it in about an hour on Monday morning. So it saved him and his entire team a great amount of time. Again, we start with you in the center, and we build all this stuff around it. It's that wheel, that accelerator. World-class KPIs. It's about what are the things that you need to pay attention to in order to grow a world-class business. And it turns out these are the 6. And we can talk, everybody understands EBITDA and revenue, right? But what about your customer pipeline and your revenue churn? This is the one that gets a lot of small businesses, revenue concentration. You don't want to have any more than 20% of your revenue beholden to one source. That's a huge risk in your business if you do, right? And then there's the other one that people used to not pay much attention to, but employee engagement. That's a precursor to retention. With Catapult, we can white label it for your franchise. And then it gets installed, as I said, for every location. The other thing that I will say, and I know it's on this slide somewhere, is that one of the things that I offer as a coach is a mastermind for your franchise locations. So we bring all of the leaders together and put them in a mastermind once a month so they can learn from each other, because they're all going to make the same mistakes. And by bringing them together and saying, hey, I'm struggling with this right now. This other person says, I tried this, it didn't work. I tried this other thing, but it did work, right? And they learn from each other. And again, the whole idea here is to create a virtuous cycle that spins up everybody, right? Okay? So, again, leveraging the franchise model for business growth and scalability, delivering a strong brand presence, maintaining the health of your core locations, that we can grow those operations to the new franchisees successfully and quickly, and some expert guidance in terms of supporting franchise development. There's a QR code if you want to set up a meeting with me. You also have, I think I gave everybody a business card, and feel free to reach out. Any questions? Yeah.
Just curious on your relationship with Franchise Genesis, and what does our buy-in, what do you get access to you, or how do you
Yeah. So
in the ecosystem?
yeah. So we don't have a formal relationship. I'm a co-sponsor of this event because I feel there's value here. There isn't any at this point. We're talking about will there be at some point, but there's nothing included in the package at the moment. Yeah.
He networks with one of the consultants up in the Bay Area.
Yeah. Actually, one of the franchise consultants is one of my clients actually. So that's how I learned about this. Yeah.
Trying to imagine what is the software looks like. Is this something like a Profit Keeper or Tableau, or is that like a QuickBook, or do you have a demo or something?
I'd be happy to do it. I didn't want to distract from this in terms of trying to do a demo. It's a dashboard where you get, red, yellow, green on how you're doing against the metrics. And as people update that, how they're doing with all of the projects. So you have a dashboard of 6 categories. Your leadership team, your employees, your customers, your cash, your cash position, your growth, and the dashboard says how you're doing on the projects real time that are supporting each of those KPIs.
Steve will be the expert if you want to do so.
Yeah, I can. If you want, I can bring my laptop and show you how it works exactly, or we can do it on the call. It's easy.
I'm also a franchisee of another residential cleaning company, so I'm using the Profit Keepers. Is that something like that?
Yeah, no. No. But we do integrate with QuickBooks, and there's also ways to integrate with other kinds of software packages.